Hi there, and welcome to our channel. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that's on the minds of many car buyers: electric cars versus gas cars. Which one is the better choice for you? With concerns about the environment and the rising cost of gas, more and more people are considering making the switch to electric cars. But is it really worth it? What are the pros and cons of each type of car, and how do they compare in terms of cost, performance, and environmental impact? In this video, we'll be taking a closer look at both electric and gas cars, weighing their advantages and disadvantages, and helping you make an informed decision about which one is right for you. So buckle up, and let's get started. Electric cars. Let's start by taking a closer look at electric cars. So, how do they work? Electric cars are powered by an electric motor, which uses electricity stored in a battery pack to drive the wheels. This means that instead of filling up with gas, you charge your car by plugging it into an electrical outlet or charging station. There are several different types of charging stations available, ranging from slow chargers that can take several hours to fully charge your car, to fast chargers that can do it in under an hour. So, what are the advantages of driving an electric car? Well, for starters, they're much cheaper to run than gas cars. Electricity is generally less expensive than gas, and electric cars are also much more efficient, meaning you'll save money on fuel costs. Electric cars are also much better for the environment than gas cars. They produce zero tailpipe emissions, which means they don't contribute to air pollution or climate change. And if you charge your car using renewable energy sources like solar or wind power, you can reduce your carbon footprint even further. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There are also some disadvantages to driving an electric car. For one thing, they can be more expensive to buy than gas cars, although this is changing as the technology becomes more widespread. Another disadvantage is that charging can take longer than filling up with gas, and you need to have access to a charging station. This can be a problem if you live in an area without many charging stations, or if you need to take a long trip and there aren't any fast chargers along the way. So those are some of the pros and cons of electric cars. In the next section, we'll be taking a closer look at gas cars and seeing how they compare. Gas cars. Now that we've taken a closer look at electric cars, let's turn our attention to gas cars. So, how do they work? Gas cars are powered by an internal combustion engine, which burns gasoline to produce energy. This energy is then used to drive the wheels of the car. So, what are the advantages of driving a gas car? Well, for starters, they're generally cheaper to buy than electric cars. They also have a longer range than most electric cars, meaning you can drive further on a single tank of gas. Gas cars are also more convenient to refuel than electric cars. It only takes a few minutes to fill up your tank at a gas station, and there are gas stations pretty much everywhere. But there are also some disadvantages to driving a gas car. For one thing, they're more expensive to run than electric cars. Gasoline is generally more expensive than electricity, and gas cars are also less efficient, meaning you'll spend more money on fuel. Gas cars are also worse for the environment than electric cars. They produce tailpipe emissions, which contribute to air pollution and climate change. And even if you drive a hybrid or a car with good fuel economy, you're still burning fossil fuels and producing emissions. So those are some of the pros and cons of gas cars. In the next section, we'll be comparing electric and gas cars head to head and seeing which one comes out on top. Comparison. So, now that we've taken a closer look at both electric and gas cars, let's compare them head to head and see which one comes out on top. First, let's talk about the environmental impact. As we mentioned earlier, electric cars produce zero tailpipe emissions, which means they don't contribute to air pollution or climate change. Gas cars, on the other hand, produce emissions that can harm the environment. But it's not just about tailpipe emissions. The electricity used to charge an electric car can also come from fossil fuels, which means that the overall environmental impact of an electric car depends on how the electricity is generated. If you charge your car using renewable energy sources like wind or solar power, then an electric car is definitely the greener choice. But if your electricity comes from fossil fuels, then the environmental impact of an electric car can be similar to that of a gas car. So when it comes to the environment, it's not as simple as saying that one type of car is always better than the other. It depends on how you charge your electric car and where your electricity comes from. Next, let's talk about performance and driving experience. Electric cars have instant torque, which means they can accelerate quickly and smoothly. They're also very quiet, which can make for a more pleasant driving experience. Gas cars, on the other hand, can have more powerful engines and can be more fun to drive if you enjoy the sound and feel of a traditional internal combustion engine. So when it comes to performance and driving experience, it really comes down to personal preference. Some people prefer the smooth and quiet ride of an electric car, while others enjoy the power and sound of a gas car. Finally, let's talk about cost. As we mentioned earlier, electric cars are generally cheaper to run than gas cars because electricity is less expensive than gasoline. But there are other costs to consider as well. For example, electric cars can be more expensive to buy than gas cars, although this is changing as the technology becomes more widespread. And if you need to install a charging station at home or pay for public charging, that can add to the cost as well. On the other hand, gas cars can be more expensive to maintain than electric cars because they have more moving parts that can wear out or break down. And if gas prices go up in the future, that could make gas cars even more expensive to run. So when it comes to cost, it's not as simple as saying that one type of car is always cheaper than the other. It depends on factors like the upfront cost of the car, the cost of fuel or electricity, and maintenance costs. So there you have it, a head-to-head comparison of electric and gas cars. As you can see, there are pros and cons to both types of cars, and which one is right for you depends on your priorities and personal preferences. Conclusion. So, after comparing electric and gas cars head-to-head, which one is the better choice for you? Well, as we've seen, there are pros and cons to both types of cars, and the answer really depends on your priorities and personal preferences. If you're looking for a car that's cheap to run and good for the environment, then an electric car might be the right choice for you. But if you need a car with a long range and convenient refueling, then a gas car might be a better fit. At the end of the day, it's up to you to weigh the pros and cons and decide which type of car is right for you. We hope this video has helped you make an informed decision, and we wish you happy driving, no matter which type of car you choose. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.